a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
I'm Christina Kahn.
And I'm Leela Hilton.
And this is Burn Before Reading, the podcast about shiterature.
We're here to examine the terrible writing we did when we were younger and talk about other cringy literary topics.
Our guest today is our friend Rachel, local baker at Bake My Day RVA. Say hello to the listeners, Rachel.
Hi.
Hi, girl. Hi.
What are your pronouns?
She, her.
Rachel is a real life friend of me and Leela. In fact, almost never a podcast friend of me and Leela. That's a real friend.
Yeah, like real life in the flesh.
Hell yeah. Rachel, tell us a little bit about what you do.
I work at a local bakery. We do some really cool cakes. Yeah.
That's okay. That's the whole description.
Yeah.
You did great.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Hell yeah.
I eat a lot of sugar.
Yeah. Oh, it's my favorite thing about you, Rachel.
Yeah.
All the sugar.
All the sugar. Rachel, what has been cringing you out this week?
Cringing me out.
Yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on. It never ends. Mainly the heat. The heat is cringing me out. Needs to stop. And then I've been diving very, very deep into Love Island, which you guys know.
Oh.
Which you guys know the other day. Yeah, I know it's very cringy, but I just can't stop.
Love Island. We love Love Island in this house.
So I guess in short, I'm cringing myself out.
Wait, sorry, are you the one who put that on the other day?
No. It wasn't even me. I was just in full support of it.
Yeah, because we had a clothing swap at my house on Saturday, and suddenly we were watching Love Island, and I was like,
Yeah, we were like arguing about which episode to put on.
Oh, yes. I originally put on, wait, what the fuck is the name of that very famous show? America's Next Top Model.
Yeah.
And I looked down and I looked back up again and I was like, these people are not the same kind of hot as the last show we were watching. Leela, what's been cringing you out this week?
I have been feeling a little sad. And that's just, I don't like sitting with my own uncomfortability. So that in and of itself has been cringing me out lately. Yeah. Hate it. Hate having to sit with my own sadness. It's like, come on.
Yeah, that's
you could be happy about stuff. But then it turns out if you don't sit with your own sadness, then it all comes and hits you like a big sad at inconvenient times.
So. Yeah, I could not relate more.
You have to do controlled releases so you don't have an unplanned launch.
I know. I forget. I forget. I was raised in a you must be joyful and praise the Lord type of household. So
sure.
I feel, you must be joyful. And sometimes I hate joyful, let's just be honest. So
yeah.
Leela, you mustn't, or you needn't. You needn't to be joyful.
So, yeah, just a little cringed about that. But good news, we're back on our meds. Our period started the next day, so that explained a couple things.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm about to start mine. Yeah, I'm about to start mine. And they're there's just a lot of shit going on inside of everybody, I think. Yeah. Everyone's going through it right now.
God.
I know, help us.
Tina, what the fuck is cringing you out this week? And please make it something.
Just to clarify, I'm doing great.
Oh, you think you're better than us?
Yeah, like my cringe is that I've been like drinking
Doing
too
so
much
well.
and spending too much money lately. I've just been like living my life. No, this happens every
Yeah,
July.
that's so
like,
cringy.
It starts with the 4th of July and it just goes nonstop until my birthday usually, which
Oh,
is like, 4 weeks.
It's your birthday month,
Yeah,
though.
but
Like,
that's
I feel like
actually that's how-
excused.
yeah, I do that in October. I'm like, it never
Totally.
stops. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've just been spending a lot of money, drinking a lot. I need to, in August, I'll think about changing that. But,
Should we though?
something cringy I did this week was yesterday I went to go view the 2008 cinematic masterpiece Twilight at my local like indie theater. And that's cringe in like a wholehearted, like deep-souled, extremely unironic. I'm like, take me to the cringe. And I went to see it with some of our friends, and the theater's always full. And there was a 7-year-old man sitting in front of me who was there by himself. First of all, riddle me this.
Perfect.
What were his intentions?
Some people
Just
just
gonna
really
say.
liked it. Some people just really liked that movie.
And
Your
like
grandpa,
our little
though.
theater, our little theater, the Bird is like so cute. And sometimes when they play like cult classics, people get really lit about it. And there's like, shouting and cackling. And Twilight is obviously no exception. Like round of applause every time everybody walks on screen. Like every single joke, just like, and then all of the inside jokes too, like stuff that I only see in like memes in my Twilight shit posting groups. So that was like, I think I was not cringed out by doing that, but it was inherently a deeply, fundamentally cringy activity.
Whatever, Tina.
I don't need to keep sharing this. We did our intro.
I'm so sorry that you had a fun night of shared community.
Community
So
cringe.
cringy.
Community cringe. We go to the altar to worship the cringe of Twilight.
Maybe that guy got the wrong movie. He like thought it was gonna be like
Well, okay. Oh my God, because Rachel, right when they got to, spoiler alert, we're talking about Twilight this week, the ballet studio scene, he got up and he walked out and he never came back.
he was just like, I
But
can't.
that's so
can't.
late in the
That's
movie.
the end.
That's so late in the movie to realize you're in the wrong movie. Also, the Bird only has one screen. It's not like he wandered into the wrong theater.
And you have
True.
to buy it, like, don't they always say, like, what do you want? Like, you're never just like, maybe he just had one ticket.
One ticket.
But I've never not been like one
But
ticket to Twilight.
And all of the employees had fake blood coming out of their mouths, so he just was like,
He's like, there's something in the air tonight.
cool makeup. I'm here to see.
Indiana Jones.
I was like, what's a dude-ass movie? Indiana Jones.
That's like one of my favorite stories, and my and my regular grandfather's favorite stories is that he went to the movie theaters during, the age of Magic Mike, to escape my grandmother and her like bunko or whatever the fuck card game they
Bunko,
play.
Yeah.
All the bunko ladies.
Yeah,
And
my mom was big on Bunko when I was a kid.
yeah. And he went to the movie theater, and I still don't understand how this exactly happened, but he was like, I bought a ticket for Magic Mike. I love magic tricks. I thought it might be a good movie.
Well,
And
he's got some tricks.
he goes,
for
let me tell you
Grampy."
something. Let me tell you something, Leela. I saw a man's ass in that movie. And I said, and what'd you think? And he was like, at first I wasn't really sure that, the plot really gets pretty good. So, and so he sat through the whole movie. I love him.
Magic Mike 1 is all plot. Magic Mike 2
you're right.
is all ass.
Yes. And there's nothing truer.
I think that Papa did go to see the sequel, and
Sally
he was
mistaken.
disappointed.
Yeah.
He was disappointed. He's like,
Oh my God, I think
it's all
they-
sex now.
Okay, so here's my ranking of Magic Mike. I think the first one is the worst one.
What?
Hot take.
I think the third one is the second best. It's extremely good. And then I think the second one is the best one because it doesn't try to be a drama. It's like, we're here to shake some ass and some penis in your face.
I think the first is the best. I think it's the funniest. I think it's wild. It's sexy. It made me
it's
wanting
still good.
more. The second one was okay. The third one I didn't even see.
You gotta see the third one. It's got Selma Hayek in it.
I haven't even seen it.
Oh, it's fucking hot. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the 20 whatever masterpiece Magic Mike.
When should we?
It's not cringy, Leela.
It's just sexy.
We're here to talk about the 2008 cinnamon masterpiece, Twilight.
Cinnamon.
Sparkled in the sun like... I was going to say like cinnamon, but that's actually spice from the movie Dune.
Oh, yeah. Rachel, what's happening?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get George to open some wine for me.
So, Rachel, tell us a little bit about your history with Twilight. Like, did you read the books when they were coming out? Did you see the movies when they were coming out? When did you first experience the world of Twilight?
I didn't read the books, unfortunately, but when they first came out, I really just dove into the movies, and I was one of those girls that dressed up for the premieres. Like, we made our own t-shirts.
Oh, you got pictures? You got any pictures?
I'll send them to you, actually. I do have.
Yeah. Oh,
I have one,
yeah.
and it's on like 2010, like, flip phone at the time.
Yeah.
So, like, it's really grainy.
Quality.
Yeah, it, like, looks like shit, and it really just proves the time. So we, like, put glitter all over black t-shirts, and we put Team Edward because, duh.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so just, I guess, high school, early, or, like, late
So you
middle
were
school.
there, like, as the fandom was building.
Yeah. I just didn't read the books.
And I tell you what, you don't need to. This movie is plenty.
Yeah, you
It's
send
plenty
that to me, and I've been a loyal follower from the movies.
I think one thing
From
with
the
like
movies alone.
being like somebody who doesn't read the books, who's just saw the movie, it makes like so much sense that all of those people are Team Edward because Jacob's barely in the movie. And
Well, the
I
first
guess.
movie.
I
He's
feel
also
like-
barely in the first book, too.
is he?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I just like read through all of them as fast as I fucking possibly could, and so I'd feel like I knew everything already.
We're talking today only about the first one.
Yes.
And if you're going to talk about the later ones, specify it. So I'm talking only about the first one when I say that I think it is like an extremely faithful book adaptation. And I'll say I think Jacob is in the movie exactly as much as he's in the book, which is to say not that much.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a really good adaptation. What they do is there's about 200 pages of Bella and Edward asking each other conversation starters. Yeah. And I'm glad to say that the movie cut that down to about 8 minutes. So
Thank God.
yes, as soon as Bella learns that Edward is a vampire and he's like, okay, I guess you can know and you're my girlfriend now. I'm not joking. They spend 200 pages asking each other questions to get to know each other. It is agonizing.
It's like a thing they do where like they can, I think like he gets like defensive or annoyed or abusive or whatever. Just kidding. Who said that?
No,
And
don't say just kidding.
and says like, fine, but I'll only answer one question a day, Bella.
Oh yeah, that is right.
What?
And then like she's like, and now it's my turn, and then he gets to know something about her. So it's their bromance, you know. How cute.
So did you guys have like? Because I'm with you, Rachel. Like when the books and the movies were first coming out, I was on the bandwagon. Leela, I think you were on the bandwagon. Mm-hmm. Did you guys have a phase in like your 20s where you were like, "This is very embarrassing," and I'm definitely not a Twilight fan right now?
Yeah, I think. I mean, yeah, I was kind of like with Harry Potter and stuff like that too. Like I was just kind of like,
oh yeah,
like you kind of reach a point in like your maturity where you're like, is it still? I don't know. But like you also reach a point in your maturity where you're like, yeah, fuck it. I like this shit.
Exactly.
I like this shit. I'm not like, so it like ebbs and flows, I think, but like for the majority, I'm like, fuck it, I like this and I like what I like, and this shit is what I like. Sexy vampire love stories.
I think that like when I was a kid, I was like, this is romantic and I aspire to this. And then I think when I was in my becoming a feminist era, I was like, this is horrible. Actually, I just realized that this is anti-feminist and it's also not good writing. And then now that I'm in my 30s, I've kind of circled back to being like, it is anti-feminist and it is bad writing. And I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that really is like the point, because I totally went through a phase where I was like, not only is it anti-feminist, but like it's so all of these religious themes and purity themes are so creepy, and like that's like so triggering for me, and like how could I have liked this? And then it circles back to this like kind of like self-hating prophecy of like we're just not, when we're teenage girls or like when we're preteen girls, it's just we're just embarrassing and everything we like is trash, and it's like that sucks. Like why do we have to feel that way? Like
I mean, society
I don't think that
be telling us that constantly.
I don't think that teenage boys get that same treatment at all. Like,
they don't. They're allowed to just love their Beyblades in peace.
Yeah.
Well, so Catherine Hardwicke was the screenwriter for this. Catherine Hardwicke.
She's the director.
This is the director.
Yeah, she's the director.
Crap. I just had the screenwriter's name at the tip of my tongue.
I got it. It's Melissa Rosenberg.
Yes, Melissa.
I said it like I was trying to make it sound less Jewish, and I wasn't.
It kind of sounded like you were trying to make it Shakespeare.
Rosaline.
Yeah. And basically, like, she was like, yeah, when I look online, like, it's just kind of insane to see the difference between, like, just how scathing and vitriolic the reviews and the sentiment around Twilight pretty quickly became from both men and women. But
yeah,
basically, it's perpetuated by men because it's something for teenage girls. And she said, like, the difference is something along the lines of, like, you look at, like the way that people will review online, like, bad like boy movies, right? Like bad action movies, like they'll say like it was dumb but it was fun. Like that's pretty much how those will get reviewed.
Yes.
And then the difference here is just like so much more vitriolic. It's just like, this is a piece of shit. Anyone who likes this is an idiot. Like everyone's horrible.
I think I've really managed to make Sean come around on that specifically, because I'll tell you what,
great.
Sean does love a dumb action movie. He fucking does. And like a year or two ago, the Bird Theater was playing Twilight again. I think they do it every year. And last year, no one would come with me. I guess I found out about it like last minute, and like no one could come with me. And so I begged my husband Sean to take me. I was like, please take me to see Twilight. I promise it'll be more fun than you think it is. I don't think he really remembered the plot, and he was very, very hesitant. But we went, and it was obviously extremely fun. We were cackling the whole time, and I think he kind of like gets it now. And yesterday I was like, hey, I got other people coming. You don't need to come if you don't want to. And he was like, no, I want to go. Yeah. And during the movie, I could hear him cackling, and I like looked over and he was laughing so hard, and I'm like, he gets it. He finally gets Twilight.
Oh, what a nice moment. I love that for you guys. That's really great. And that is not easy to do. And I have to say, like, the best way I think to convince your husband or, significant other or men in your life that are just regular straight dudes that like, this stuff is not stupid, or like this stuff can be fun or interesting.
I'm working on it.
Like show them, and that's what a perfect setting. Just take them into like a full room full of like a diverse setting full of so many different people that aren't just me, since clearly you don't trust my opinion. And then like by observing all the other cackles and whoops around you, you're like, wait a second, there must be something to this here, Twilight.
Oh, and you guys know me. I got a couple pretty good laughs because I love a movie where I could just be shrieking stuff.
Totally.
The biggest laugh that I got was when Carlisle first walks on screen. Every character, so he got a round of applause in the hospital. He walks on screen, and as soon as the applause died down, I went, "Oh, Daddy!" And I got a good round of a round of laughter. Not a round of applause. This was directed, as you said, Leela, by Catherine Hardwicke. She also directed a couple things that may be familiar. She directed 13. Did y'all see that movie with Evan Rachel Wood?
Oh my God, I grew up on that movie.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to watch
I can't believe that.
I know, but you're in your 30s now, Leela. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my God, we need to watch it. We need to watch it together.
Yeah, we should definitely. It also has Nikki Reed in it. It has fucking Nikki Reed.
Yeah, like we need to watch it together. It's like one of those movies that you need to watch with your girls because it is wild. It's wild.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it since I was like 16 years old, so I would definitely be down. It came out when I was 12.
When I read the plot of it, it did remind me of you, Tina. Of 13-year-old you.
13-year-old's relationship with her mother is put to the test as she discovers drugs, sex, and petty crime in the company of her cool but troubled best friend. That's me.
Yeah, No. I mean, my version of that was Sleepover with Alexa Vega.
Oh, my God. That's such a different tone. Catherine Hardwicke also... Oh, she randomly directed an episode of... Oh, the Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, really? I didn't
Oh.
know that. I wonder which one did it say she directed?
One episode. Click. Season 1, episode 6, Dreams in the Witch House.
Ooh, I haven't seen that one. Maybe we'll watch it tonight.
Okay. Hell yeah. Let me know how it is. So shout out to this like all women like writing and directing team. We do, first of all, love that. I think that the Edward of the movie is like a little more romanticized and a little less intense than the books, maybe just because of screen time. I think that has to do with the female gaze.
Yeah.
LOL. Kirsten Stewart is a female gaze.
Kristen.
It's because of my America Girl doll.
I know.
Can't say Kirsten.
God damn you, Kirsten. Go back to where you came from. I'm just kidding.
Well, you call it Kirsten?
No.
Oh, do you say Kirsten?
It's definitely Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
I call the America Girl doll Kirsten, but that's what my mom always said.
I say Kirsten. I actually know someone who spells it that way, and she says Kirsten.
I think it's a
I
classic
knew it's somebody that
potato.
who named it who called it herself Kirsten, and she spelled it.
I think it's probably the more
K-I-E-A.
traditionally Norwegian or whatever Swedish
Kirsten.
Nordic spelling. Yes, my name is Kirsten Larson.
Kirsten.
So anyway, Kristen Stewart is her name. I want to start by saying that she's wearing a fucking hairpiece this whole movie, and it's not subtle.
Yeah. I listened to a bit of an episode, a review of this movie, from this podcast I won't mention because I'm not going to say good things. When I was on my way here from Northern Virginia,
It was super scary. Just
oh,
kidding, just
I
kidding.
love them. I would never.
I know. I was just like, who do I know who's covered that?
I know.
Our friend Josh.
No, but this girl on this podcast specifically kept mentioned how good she thought all the hair was.
No.
She was like, everyone's hair looked great. It was crazy.
What?
It was
Okay,
wigs.
so
it was
I
so
think that's-
clearly wigs.
I
bro.
think that statement is mostly true if you don't take into account the obvious wigs. Okay, because
I guess.
Jacob is
yeah.
obviously wearing a wig. That's the worst wig I've ever seen in my fucking life. That wig halved his forehead.
It's from Spirit Halloween.
Yes.
like he just went to the corner store. It was like
Whatever you got.
Yeah. We forgot he was supposed to have long hair.
And Kristen's hair, they literally put her in a hairpiece to save time on hair time. How long does it take? How long does it take you to fix a girl's hair? A straight brunette white girl. How long could it possibly take you to fix her hair?
Yeah, they turned her into a straight brunette white girl into just a longer, curvier, a wavier.
Yeah.
Fucking white girl with brown hair, and it's like, how long did that really need to? Why'd you need a wig for that? You know,
I'm trying to remember what her hair looked, because for the last however many years she's had short hair, kind of like spiked cool lesbian hair. So her hair might be very very thin, and maybe they also needed to fill it out a little bit.
That tracks.
That's something they could have done. Tracks. You're right about that.
Oh, I just said that.
just said that.
No, I know. I'm totally joking.
But that is hair extensions. Is that not a thing?
There were so many things that they could have and did not do.
Yeah,
they definitely just took the easy way out.
Yeah. So, look, Kristen Stewart. Do we like her performance in this movie?
That is the question.
It's not misogynist to say no.
It's difficult to picture anybody else at this point. I feel like the two are ubiquitous is the wrong word, but the two are just so intertwined in my head.
Yeah, kind of like Daniel Radcliffe and Harry Potter.
Yes.
It's hard to envision someone else.
Although I probably for Twilight too if I reread it, but I don't want to, even though I did it somewhat recently.
We just did.
It's all gone. But I remember I know in Harry Potter even there's details about the green eyes and how tall he is and how messy his hair is.
Speaking of which,
That takes me out of it.
well, I just want to mention, I always roast
No, not Daniel.
Yeah, I always roast Daniel Radcliffe for this on the Harry Potter movies as like a joke, but they're like, it's a really big deal that Harry Potter has green eyes in the book. They mention it constantly. And Daniel Radcliffe has blue eyes, and he just like couldn't wear the contacts. They really hoarded his eyes. So for like half the movies, he has green eyes, and the other half he has blue eyes, and it's like not a subtle difference. And Bella Swan has brown eyes for no fucking reason. It never comes up at all. Nobody cares. But to commit to the bit, Kristen Stewart wore brown contacts for these 5 fucking movies. Just because for no fucking reason.
And it looks good. It works.
Wait,
I think,
does she have blue eyes or something?
They must be blue or hazel, probably because she's brunette. But like literally, that was Stephanie Meyer being like, but she has brown eyes.
Yeah. It's annoying. I don't know.
What are the most like mortal eyes? Brown? Mortals have brown eyes.
I guess, yeah. Blue eyes are always kind of like, ugh, what are you looking through me?
Like the Ice King.
Yes.
Like, no, not
the Ice King from Adventure Time.
They call me the Ice King.
I wasn't thinking about that Ice King. I was thinking about the Game of Thrones
I
Ice
knew
King.
you were.
That's not what they call him.
It's
The Wildling.
No, the Nightwalker.
The King of the North. No, that's the other guy.
It's the Nightwalker. It's the King of the Nightwalkers.
He's the king one.
Yeah, he's like
We used to know so much about it.
We used to know, or whatever Paramore says in this movie.
What do we get here?
Oh, he was called the Night King. Paramore wrote that song for this movie, which I kind of forgot.
The Night King? That's all they gave him?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't
George
remember.
R. R. Martin
I don't
had
remember
to name
that.
a lot of characters.
He was just like, I'm done with this shit. Just call him the Night King and be done with it.
He's like, this will be like this what I put here until I think of the real name. And then he's like, he gets to it and he's like,
and then HBO was like, no, we need it now. And they were like,
we love it.
Okay, yeah.
Keep it.
I guess he's the Night King.
He like accidentally sent an early draft, but they are like, we love it.
That's classic HBO.
Both with Kristen Stewart and with Robert Pattinson, I find their performances to be one note and underwhelming. But truly, then you go and read the book and you're like, oh, these characters are one note and underwhelming.
Yeah.
These are really good adaptative performances.
Well, they did a really good job, yeah.
Yeah, they like really did. Like, there's not much missing from these characters.
no.
They were probably like cheap to cast at the time. Like they weren't like super great, probably.
They weren't famous yet. Like
yeah, exactly.
Actually, Rob Pattinson had done Harry Potter already.
I guess that put him on the map.
I think that was 2007, the Goblet of Fire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
So right.
Probably put him on the map, but he was still.
It was 2005. So he was definitely already famous. He was actually, I think, considered a pretty serious hunk of a teenager at this time after Goblet of Fire.
Oh yeah.
And they were like, ooh, now that Cedric Diggory is dead, he's undead.
And I was like, okay.
I was like, yep.
One thing that I did like in the books that I think is missing from the movie, mostly I think some of this is Rob Pattinson and then some of this is just not having as much time for 200 pages of back and forth dialogue. I do think Book Robert is like, Robert, what's his name? Edward, is more charismatic. Like, they have better banter. They have like better conversations. They're charismatic together in a way where I'm like, well, I understand at least why you were drawn to each other. I don't support any of this. But.
Yeah. There's, I don't know if I would consider any of their dialogue better, but I would consider it there. You know what I mean? Versus, there's just really not this present air of connection or conversation. Yeah.
That's like a constant problem with like book to film adaptations. And like romances. Since we're talking about Harry Potter so much, I'll just keep going.
And romances.
And romances, like talking about like translating the Harry Ginny romance from book to movie, and you take out all of their interactions because they've just been bullshit. To be cut to the editing room floor in like every single movie up until now. Like, yeah, it's inorganic now. You lost the context. So I think that's a pretty common thing.
Adaptations are really difficult. Like,
they are. And especially romance. I really think especially romance. Like, an action adaptation can be so fun and well done, you know?
Because so much is, like, what you're thinking in your own head. Like...
I mean, especially this one.
This one, yeah. There's so much inner dialogue. And, you know, like Book Bella's inner dialogue, like, some of it, I'm glad we lost because she's really cunty. She's
really cunty.
Horrible.
And she's really... Okay, she's really, dumb. And we get to see that. We get to see Kristen Stewart doing that out loud plenty, honestly.
Yeah.
I love the way that Kristen Stewart in this movie cannot get a line out. You know how every line she's like, no.
It does. It feels like she's fighting.
Don't.
And she's like fighting
Like,
the lines.
like
It's like bubbling up inside of her.
Yeah.
She's like trying not to vomit,
Like,
but
very,
the
like-
vomit is her line of dialogue.
yeah, exactly. That's my
Why
way
her
of putting
lips-
it.
Why'd she, like, do you think she's just making her lips tremble like that constantly? Like,
Yes.
it's so much. That's a lot. I do that when I'm being a little silly goose.
What if you were a delicate little lamb?
That's true. But here's my secret. I already am.
What if you were a delicate little lamb that fell in love with a lion and you were so scared for your life?
Oh, maybe my widow whip would twimble.
Your little whip would twimble.
I hate it.
She does, like, look the part. She's, like, so virginal and, like,
Yeah.
so clumsy and, like, so precious
Oh, clumsy.
and stupid.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
God.
I mean, like, yeah. I mean, she puts it on for that part, yeah.
Well, yeah, totally.
She's not,
but-
like, yeah, she does not do a good job of, like, flawlessly.
Are you sure she didn't pull an Anne Hathaway? Like, I mean, we all saw the behind-the-scenes clips on Princess Diary DVD, no?
I don't remember that.
Where she's like,
I mean,
at my
I will-
audition, I accidentally tripped over 3 rows of chairs. Oh my God. And
That's
they're-
very like Jennifer Lawrence, too.
yeah. They're like, keep it in. You know, no.
Oh
I didn't even know we were filming. I'm beautiful.
There's
I look
that,
like Julia Roberts. Yeah.
That one moment when Bella slips on the ice and goes
Exactly.
down really hard. That kind of I every time she does that, I'm like, fuck, that looks like that hurts. Like, she goes down really hard.
Yeah.
Like, her little, like, her hip bone probably was not feeling good
There's
after
no
that. But she
cushion there.
did that on purpose. Like, she was just, like, you could just, like, tell it was just so on purpose. Like, you're just like, well, I wonder how many times they made you do that because it sucked.
You think that was
Even
really
this
hard?
one. Yes, I think that was it
I
looked
think-
very
I think it was a
unorganic.
full body shot.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta
Yeah.
I just gotta look at it one more time to make sure there's no crafty editing.
No, I
Because
think
they can be real tricky with it. Because, like, almost nothing you see nowadays is actually that actor.
I
They
think it's her, though.
don't even be running upstairs anymore.
No, you mustn't. You should let somebody else do that for you.
I googled, did Bella do her own ice fall stunt? And I got a Vogue article about Bella Hadid visiting a stable.
So, yes.
I'll type in Twilight.
Seems like a yes to me.
Cool, unique details you probably missed. Okay, hold on.
Ooh,
let me see.
okay.
Control find. Give me that ice, baby.
Or slips.
That was a really good whistle, by the way.
Thank you. I'm an excellent
no,
whistler.
that she does her own stunt, and if you go back and look at it, she falls on her ass.
Uh-huh.
So this is funny. If you go back and look at it, she's wearing knee pads for this stunt under her jeans, and it's like quite noticeable according to these official Summit Entertainment photos.
Jeans did not have room.
We will be going back and we will.
Yeah, no, I
Be
need
looking.
to
We'll be
study these
inspiring.
clips. This is my football or whatever.
Yeah.
And the game room.
We're like circling where she fell.
Yeah.
This is where I see the knee pad.
So Rob Pattinson is a British actor who I was reading the trivia for this movie, and I think it was like, quote, Robert Pattinson had no help perfecting his American accent. And I was like, well,
it
yeah,
shows.
because he just like didn't perfect it.
Yeah, it shows. It shows.
There's like a couple lines. I forget what he said, but he's talking to her when remember that time when they first start dating and he jumps really hard onto her truck out of nowhere
Yes.
for no fucking reason. He says something so British there, and I forget what it is, but it was
So you're worried?
He's like,
all the words, all the letters get caught in his mouth. very,
I know
like,
something
British-like.
along the lines of like hurry or worry, and then he says it like he's like, yeah, don't even worry about it. cheerio.
Yeah, let's go get some tea, crumpets.
He's like,
I'm pretty sure that's what he says. Yeah.
No, I sound like an American.
He does the same thing that I see Daniel Radcliffe also do when he's playing an American, which is where he like super hits the consonant, the R's at the end of stuff.
Yeah.
Like they hit it maybe just like a little too hard. It works for Edward because he is described as having like an older style of speech, a little more proper because he was born in the olden times. So I think it kind of works that he has this like weirdly almost like transatlantic energy going on.
Yeah, that does make sense for him. Another person who does that, hitting their R's too hard is I can't remember the actor's name, but like Dr. House.
Oh, Hugh.
He's
a Hugh. Lawrence?
Yeah, that sounds right. Laurie.
It's Laurie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lowry,
Jennifer Lawrence,
Laurie.
Hugh Laurie.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think that's the kind of thing where we say Laurie in America, and in Britain they would say Lowry.
Yeah, so he hits his R's really hard, and it kind of like works for him because he's a very cynical and intelligent man.
Well, and Dr. House can do whatever he fucking wants.
Yes, and because but then like I noticed that when I watched what's that fucking like Marvel movie about the fucking wizard, Doctor Strange, that Benny Smicked Cumbersmatch is like so clearly British. I mean, like look and listen.
Oh yeah,
to him.
yeah.
One glimpse upon his pallid skin.
Yeah, or even the one syllable of his name. No,
Yeah,
or two.
like, seriously.
I know Americans'
You
name
can tell.
Yeah, okay, maybe 3 syllables.
But Benny,
Benedict.
that's British.
Yeah, that he does. He talks exactly the same. So I remember in the movie theater thinking, because I always thought, wow, I could never tell Dr. House was American because it just worked for his character, the way that he talks
You mean
so
British?
harsh. Or British, yeah.
Yeah.
But in the movie theater, I noticed immediately. I was like, why does he sounds exactly like Dr. House?
Because he's strange.
It's because like so
Nice.
a lot of times I think they also will get to they try to do like a couple like two specific like very specific American accents, which is like New York, I'm walking here,
Yeah,
which is
definitely, like, Northeast.
no
Or the
one
country,
younger
or the
than
country.
60 years old talks like that anymore.
Yeah, or the country, or
Or
sometimes they
country.
go. Sometimes
it's
they go
like
like
that
California
real.
surfer too.
Yeah,
But
well.
Surfer is hard to keep up though.
It is.
So
It
I think
is.
they like the more dramatic ones to lean into. Anyway,
You gotta lean in.
I love accents and dialects. So interesting.
So, do we think Rob Pattinson did a good job in this movie? Rachel?
I think he did. I think he did well for what he was given.
With what he was good. That's,
Yeah.
that's what we always say when they didn't do well, but it was mostly the writing's fault.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think he did a good job. I mean, I've seen I think this was like a very good jumping off base for his career. He obviously has done. I've seen him in a lot of other things too, and I'm just like, wow, this is a lot better job than what you did in fucking Twilight, or what in Harry, what he did in Harry Potter. So it's like, I think he did a good job, and he gave it all that he got, and that's just because that's what he does as an actor. He'll give everything that he has into the character.
He's a
but
goddamn professional.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I think he did a good job, but it wasn't like you said, it wasn't very good writing. So,
Yeah.
but he took it because it was a job, and it really boosted the fuck out of his career. So,
He had never even heard of Twilight when someone suggested he audition for this role. He literally only did it because he had seen Kristen Stewart in something and was like, she looks cool.
she's hot.
Oh yeah, because they dated because of this movie.
They
right?
dated, and then
I completely forgot about
she
that.
She was in the Snow White trilogy, the first movie.
Oh my god!
And then she hooked up with a director, and it was like a whole scandal that she cheated on him.
It is so wild that they hooked up after this movie because they really don't have, I think,
any chemistry,
good chemistry at all.
It kind of like cringes me out thinking about them really dating. Like I'm like, no.
Well, she's full gay.
Yeah.
Now she is.
She's full gay. So
she
I
wasn't
also
at
don't
the
love that
time.
either.
She wasn't at the time.
I know, but it's like
not to the public.
I think that sometimes when you're like, this feels weird, and then 15 years later, it's like, oh, it's because she was gay the whole time.
Yeah.
That really adds to the lack of chemistry here. If Bonnie Wright, who played Ginny Weasley, had come out as lesbian
That's
after
true,
the
that's
filming
true.
of Harry Potter, I'd be like, actually, that explains literally so much.
I get it now. You're fine, babe. Love you. You did great.
Actually, you did. Yeah, your acting was great.
Oh, man. Okay, so, like, kind of same question. Do you think... So, like, let's say, like, let's blame the screenwriter. I mean, like, do you think she did okay for... Melissa, what's-her-face, did okay.
Melissa Rosenberg.
Rosenberg did okay.
Rosenberg.
Considering the source material and probably Stephanie Meyer's constant control. Like, do you still think she could have done better?
I don't really think she could have done better based on the novel Twilight, because she just literally didn't have time. The book is almost 600 pages long. Like,
oh my God,
what is
so
it, like 510
long.
pages long? Like, she does not have time to be like dicking around letting Edward develop a bit of a cute personality when he's just going to be a super intense control freak abuser in the end anyway. Like, yeah, he makes me laugh a couple times. He's a little bit charming in the book, but like if a lot has to go, I get why she cut that. Because it takes a long time for a sociopath like this to develop a personality.
You're right.
What do you think, Leela, after reading the book this spring or whenever we
Yeah, I think you're completely right. Like, I think that, like, I really kind of feel for her. And the director, honestly. Like, I think that they were excited to be able to do something that was, like, for the girls. And, like... I think they were excited to be a part of a project that was potentially going to get so big. I don't think anyone knew. Like, I think Hunger Games, for example, like that movie franchise, they knew. Like, and I think they knew, like, when they cast all these people, especially, like, Jennifer Lawrence, you know, like, you're going to be really, really huge. This is going to blow up your career. Are you ready for this? And I feel like they had that expectation because of Twilight, like a franchise like Twilight, which was lower budget,
and like YA in general,
YA
just getting more popular.
Yeah, and they, like, you know, there's a huge fan base for this, and you are basically going to go from an unknown to, like, the most famous person in America, the world.
Yeah, it was like kind of in an era where book trilogies or like book, you know, series. Like were really popping off, like Divergent.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about that on this pod eventually.
Yeah, like there's just so many at that time that were just really popping off. And so that makes a lot of sense. It makes total sense. Like Twilight was kind of like the starting point.
Yeah.
The tipping point. And like Harry Potter and like...
Harry Potter really brought children's fiction, YA fiction, into the mainstream, especially like fantasy. Like,
yeah.
Robert Pattinson has been riding this train from the beginning.
Literally.
Yeah.
Aww.
So the Hogwarts Express.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cute.
That was cute.
But yeah, so I did. Yeah, I got sidetracked, but I definitely think that that Melissa Rosenberg did the best that she could. I think even like when I was rereading the book this spring and I came across certain passages that like really stuck out in my mind, I was like, yeah, I read the book first and I read it more than once, but I definitely saw the movie more times than I read the book. So there's lines that stick in my head, and then like I would be like, that's from the movie, and I'm like, so I think the screenwriter probably did the best that she could with adapting it well, and that involves like taking straight up like horrible cringy dialogue from the book and just copy pasting. I kind of think those were like the worst parts of the movie, actually. Like some of the shit that he says, I mean, the whole like I watch you when you sleep, I remember reading that in the book. The whole tree tantrum, I remember reading that in the book.
There's a couple lines that are like, okay, like for example, in the movie he says out of nowhere, for no fucking reason, you are my own personal brand of heroin. Yes. That's really cringy.
Yes.
In the book, he's like, yeah, the way you smell is like extra good to me. Like I am in love with you. You're immune to my powers, and you smell like so good. Like I really do extra want to eat you. And she says, so I'm your personal brand of heroin. And he's like, haha, I guess so. That's like an example of like a way that they changed a line to make it shorter and make him look more insane.
I remembered that seeing that in the theaters and everyone screaming with laughter and shock.
Because it's so random. He just says it as like a weird,
And I was livid because I was like, that's not how it was in the book. But then like you kind of think about it and you're like, but that is a line from the book. Yeah. So like I know, but it made me first question what I thought of as good writing, and I do think that is valuable.
So I gotta know, like, the way that when Edward is like, as if you think you could outrun me, as if you could beat me, you know what, et cetera. And he's like ripping trees and like running around. Do you think that there is any actor in the world that could have done that scene compellingly and convincingly, Rachel?
Like over him? I mean,
Like, he didn't do it very good. It was pretty corny. Who could have done it? Or nobody? Is it an impossible scene?
It's just like one of those things where you associate the actor with what you've just known for all these years. And like, there's never been a moment in where I'm like, well, that actor, would have done a lot better in that scene. So I don't know. I
actually think he could have chewed it up a little bit more. I think he could have chewed on the scenery. It's ridiculous. What are you going to do? You got to go full.
Yeah, he could have put more heart into
it. As if you could outrun me!
Like, just like, give it your fucking all.
When you said he could have chewed it a little bit more, my first thought was, Robin Williams would have done a great job at this.
Yeah. Oh my God. As if you could outrun me. And then he like...
Yes, it's like, okay... It is actually almost the exact same monologue as the genie, you never had a friend like me monologue.
Can your friends do this? Can your friends do that?
You ain't never had a friend like me.
There's just no benefits at the end.
Oh my God. That's so
oh my God.
I think part of the trouble with that scene specifically is that it's like the computer graphics weren't very good. So he's like ripping this branch, but he couldn't actually like engage with it because it was like CGI. You know what I mean? And like a lot of his like running around, it's just like and then he's like in a different place and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
It's very like comic booky. I don't know, it's just inappropriate.
I just feel that if it was gonna be comic booky, then they should have gone full comic book.
I don't think it should have been comic booky. That was not the vibe.
But how else could it possibly fucking be? It's so silly. And even in the book, I really don't like, of course, tree tantrum scene, that scene is
almost
iconic.
Directly from the book.
Yes. And it is iconic, and I did scream reading it. And I had a lot of fun reading it. But it is so abusive. It's the same thing that
it's horrible
that boys do, like horrible boys that we dated when we were in college, right? Who will say who will get mad and like fucking punch a hole in the wall in front of you, or like throw a chair across the room, and they're not hurting you, but it's like, you don't have to show me or do like a whole thing about your strength right now. Like
my abusive high school boyfriend Matt would. He would drive very fast with me in the car in like a show of control and aggression.
That's so scary.
It's extremely scary and horrifying.
Wait, that happens here.
Every time Rob Pattinson does that in this fucking movie, I get a little bit triggered because it's literally the most like abusive, scary thing. Like, it's so fucking terrifying.
So you guys are Team Jacob.
It's hard. It's hard.
Okay, so I just want to be clear. I'm 32, so these days I'm Team Charlie.
Yeah. I'm 32, and
hell yeah.
These days I'm Team Alice.
But I just, when I was a kid, I was Team Jacob, and I will say that they gave you Stephanie gave you a long time to figure out if you were Team Edward or Team Jacob before telling you that Team Jacob means you support a baby fucker.
And you're like, what the fuck? It's not cool.
And so, like, Was I Team Edward or Team Jacob? Because I really romanticized like the feral wilderness boys. Like I loved that. I still kind of do love that.
Yeah, that's like
vibe.
Hosier. Yeah.
I always was Team Edward.
I don't.
Like,
I just gotta say I don't agree with the like
first.
Hosier statement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think Hosier is a very sexy feral wilderness boy.
I don't feel like it's the same at all.
To each its own.
It is okay. Yeah, to each their own. Sorry, Rachel. What were you saying?
Oh, I was saying I was always Team Edward just because of like, I think like right off the jump, like that's who was introduced to us, and I was like, meow, and like then I don't know, I don't know. I think I just like latched on
abusive boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah, that's like all I knew. It's all I knew too, and then I just like kind of never changed my opinion.
I mean, when I was 16, if Edward Cullen had approached me, I would have given him the time of day. You know, like I wasn't anti-Edward. I just thought that being a werewolf was a cooler cultural choice, I guess.
Maybe I just always wanted to be a vampire. That was just cooler in my mind.
Kind of sound enticing. I mean, they're like, it's not that big a deal. You can just...
Dude,
live forever.
I've never romanticized vampires, and I wonder if it's because they cannot go out in the sun. I wonder if that's like my core reason, because...
I've always been a night owl, so maybe that is why.
I was definitely Team Jacob, I feel like, from the start. I thought he was so cute the second he hit that screen. I thought he was so cute the second he hit that book. I like younger guys always liked me anyway. I like guys who are nice to me. I don't like it when I have to work for things. I don't understand. Gimme.
Cheers to that.
So yeah. That's about all I have to say about that. I was always Team Jacob, and let me tell you, I was very upset. I was very upset at the end. And I really tried to talk myself through it. I really did. No. I was like, it's okay, because it's like he's like a brother to her until she gets older.
No. Okay. Well, let's
Mom! And she's
save
like,
it for
it's
Breaking
not that.
Dawn.
It's just book. It's fine, honey.
Save it for Breaking
It's just
Dawn.
a book, honey.
I'm gonna start reading some trivia, and then we can talk about like some of the other characters.
Okay, do it.
You may have noticed that when Bella goes to the Cullens' house for the first time, and they made Italiano, and then Bella is like, that sounds great. And Edward says, she already ate, you fucking idiots.
Yes.
And then Rosalie breaks a glass bowl in her hands.
Yes.
You may have noticed that she's wearing gloves in that scene because she kept cutting her hands on the breaking bowl.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense.
How fucking immaculate is Nikki Reed in this movie, guys? If you want to know my perfect girl,
it's Nikki Reed.
It's Rosalie. Like, she's so fucking hot. Actually, but Emmett is so hot too. I just want to get in there. My monkey man. God, they're both so fucking hot.
I don't find any of them really attractive. Like, obviously,
really?
Yeah. Like, not even like a single character. I mean, like back in the day, obviously, like I would romanticize whichever character, whatever. But nowadays, nobody has facial hair.
Yeah,
everyone's like
hair.
Really. I'm like, I mean, you guys. I mean, the listeners have not seen my husband, but
I've seen his
you
ass.
guys
I've seen his fucking ass,
and you've seen his ass, and
I've not
just
seen
with his ass
ass
alone.
Dude, when I saw
He's
Drew's
hairy.
ass for the first time, I kind of was like, I didn't know asses could be that hairy. I was like, this is a scientific anomaly.
You've never.
Don't worry about it.
No, I'm not gonna say. I mean, my dad's ass was really hairy. I only know that from like walking into the bathroom while he was getting out of the shower. Lock the door.
God.
Lock the
no,
door.
I feel you.
Dads and moms
growing
both
up
be
is
like
weird.
that. We don't lock doors in this house. Well, sometimes
I've
you
seen
should.
Maybe you should. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen my dad in his tidy whities more times than I'd care to admit.
Yeah. Anyway,
So,
let's change the subject.
This trivia made me laugh. As soon as Robert Pattinson was cast, he moved to Oregon and began working on his character, both physically and mentally. He worked out 5 hours a day with a trainer and learning to fight, to play baseball, and do stunts. He also had to learn to drive and get an Oregon driver's license. There's like a couple notes about how different people had to learn how to play baseball. Do you guys think that learning how to play baseball is really necessary for this movie?
Absolutely not. What the fuck? It was like a 30-second clip.
If that. If that.
And then like 2 people went up to bat and that was all CGI. Like they didn't fucking hit it over the fucking
Also, like,
forest.
you don't have to learn how to play baseball. You just need someone to be like, okay, when you hit this run, like
when when you see him throw the ball, just pretend to hit it. That's all you have
because
to
they're
do.
CGing the ball in anyway. Yeah, so they didn't even have to practice hitting it.
They didn't have to throw.
They
didn't even have to throw a ball. They talk
a lot. There's
silly.
There's 2 characters who are like left-handed, and they both had to learn how to play baseball left-handed.
That
I'm like,
doesn't
first of all,
matter.
It does not matter at all if the book character is left-handed. That is like so unimportant.
I'm sorry. I played softball, and my brother is left-handed. He also played baseball. It does not matter. It does not matter. He batted right-handed. Like that shit does just not matter.
Well, my brother.
I mean, I know some people do bat left-handed too, but like overall,
it's just
nobody
like
would even like
it's not worth relearning how to play baseball.
Exactly. Like you're not going to need it for this 30-second clip in this movie.
Very fun. Like I didn't
not
clock
about
that
baseball.
Rosalie was batting left-handed. Like,
yeah.
so funny.
Do you think there was more baseball then?
Some deleted baseball scenes.
Wow, my favorite.
There's like
35
hours of undocumented baseball scenes of Twilight.
Wait, that would be awesome.
I would sit there and watch it too.
So much Muse. Oh, baby, I'm a fool for now.
The whole theater broke into gigantic applause when that song starts with that fucking groovy little.
Oh my god,
You didn't do it any better than I thought I would.
Yeah, but I love it though.
Super massive black hole.
Let's talk about the music because we haven't yet, and the music in this movie is kind of legendary.
It's so good. It really is.
I was listening to the soundtrack while I was working today. It's excellent vibes.
It's iconic, honestly. I will hear songs on playlists as they're playing at work, and I'm like, Twilight. Like, this was in Twilight. And, like, people at work, they're like, what? And I'm like, clearly you just don't understand.
You just don't understand?
That's tip of the iceberg, though.
Well, this movie came out in 2008, and then by the time I was in college, I was in my anti-Twilight phase, right? So by the time I got to college, and the very dope dubstep remix of this song released, I had forgotten that it was in this soundtrack. So for like 10 years, I was very obsessed with the dubstep remix of this song.
Not bad.
And then when I watched the movie again, I was like, this is that fucking dubstep song. Was dubstep invented in 2008? And then I was like, wait, no, it's the original. Which, by the way, it super was. But
it tricked you.
The actors got to choose a lot of the music for this movie, which is why it's
really?
kind of... yes, I'm going to fact check that. That's a fact I had in my head.
I think I heard that too. They all got to pick like what songs were in which scenes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, let me
I don't
let me
think
just fact
actors
check
should
that.
have that power.
I think for this movie it was a really, really cool choice.
Because there's just like a bunch of teens.
I think it's a good soundtrack. I have
well,
kind
they
of
did
no
like
notes about it.
because there's a bunch of teens that knew what songs were, I guess, hip right now or had good taste, I guess.
But it wasn't like, I guess it was all like indie stuff. I mean, they couldn't afford big artists. I was probably part of it. Maybe they had like they
probably were like
what they could choose.
Next, like no, we don't have the
Baby
budget
by
for that
Justin
one.
Bieber.
Yeah. like no, you gotta think smaller, babe. You gotta think smaller.
I actually can't find a citation for that, so I actually don't know if that is actually. I had heard that before, that the cast had picked the songs, but maybe not. But Robert Pattinson does have 2 fucking of his own songs on this soundtrack, which I did not know before.
Of his own?
Yeah. Nikki Reed, he like shared an old CD of his with her, and she gave it to the director and was like, you should put this in there. And then the director put it in and was like, Robert, check how cool this looks. And he was like, it is, I don't love that, but it is kind of the right vibe. And it is. One of them is available to stream on Spotify. I'll link it in the show notes. The other one only has covers. I wasn't able to find the original. I'll dig some more, and if I can't find it, I'll link one of the covers. I don't know.
I wish I knew which songs those were. I knew at one point.
One of them is, here, I'll play it for you. One of them, I was like, damn, that's like one of the Twilight songs. Hold on.
I gotta hear it, because I have no idea.
Can you hear it on your end? Haha, that's not it, obviously.
I don't know that song.
I'll give you a fucking second. Where'd it go? I was
really trying to I was really trying to get there. I don't think this is one of the songs.
Where's my fucking recently played? Here we go. Never think, never. Oh my god.
Right there, right? Right there.
No, these are all of the other songs. Fucking A. What was it called? It was called Never Let Go. Oh, Let Me Sign is the one. Here we go.
Yeah, let's hear this shit.
Broken tree, hands are all twisted, it's pointing at me. I was damn about light coming. All that I see spoke with a voice that disrupted the sky. She said, walk all over, yeah, it's a bitter shade. I'll wrap you in my arms. Ain't no use, let me sign. Let me sign.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That's what I remember from the movie.
Yeah.
And that's Robbie Boy.
Aw, look at him.
Dang.
Rob said,
I didn't realize that he did that for the movies.
You played.
Yeah, and he played the piano himself too during the piano scene. He's a musician.
He's so talented.
Yeah.
Oh, you're such a team, Edward.
I'm a team Robert Pattinson.
It is funny because you did marry a total Jacob energy boy.
Yeah,
though.
you did.
Because he's hairy.
He's Harry and a fucking feral.
I've seen him do things with fire.
Right. Yeah, got that right. Yeah,
absolutely loses his mind around an open flame. That man.
Yeah, he does.
That's true.
Just send him out to the woods.
Oh my god! You remember that's not him. That part when, at the end of Twilight, when he's sucking her blood and both their eyes are rolling up in their head and her eyes are closed.
Yeah.
And it's this country music. It's this
country.
twang.
I
It's
remember it country.
No, it's it goes
Oh, no wonder I liked it so much.
Editor Christina here with a fact check, looked it up, and the song that is playing during the scene that Leela just mentioned is the one I just fucking played. Let Me Sign by Robert Pattinson. Thank you so much. It's a really diverse, interesting soundtrack. I think it's very, very interesting. So,
it is.
And then the first movie picked extant songs to be on the soundtrack. That all the rest of the movies wrote their own music. I think much to the movie's disservice. I think that this one was way cooler and better, personally.
Well, it's just more interesting when it's not so on the nose.
Yeah.
The worst
It's,
song in the
weird song
movie
for this
is
scene.
always the one that they write for the movie.
Yeah.
Every time.
Which is all of them. In the rest of the series,
Except
it's all of them.
for Titanic. I'm sorry. That
No,
one.
I'm not. I'm talking about the rest of the Twilight series.
Oh. Yeah.
Same.
Let's talk. Okay, there's so many good actors in this, and by good, I don't necessarily mean good, but you know who does a good job, in my fucking opinion? Billy Burke, Charlie Swan. We haven't talked about him at all.
So good.
I love him.
I love him a lot. I think that when I like joke and I say that I'm Team Charlie because obviously all cops are bad and I would probably never fuck him.
No, but he's not like cop vibes. He's like
he's small. He's like
small town sheriff.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're just
different.
a do-gooder. Like you're just a do-gooder that just like protects the little small town.
He loves his community.
Like you don't have cop vibes. Like it's exactly that. Like it's just like, yeah, you're like the father of the community, and like there's something sexy about that.
And he, like, loves the ever-living shit out of his super lame, boring, bitchy daughter.
Yeah, I know. I would be such a better daughter to you.
And, like, the way that she treats him is very upsetting. So when I say I'm Team Charlie, I'm like, everyone did wrong in this entire series. Everyone makes terrible choices. Except for Charlie. Charlie's the one who's being, like, constantly misled.
I just want to do good by my daughter.
And the way that... he tries so hard in his own little quiet way, and the way that she literally, okay, she's like, we have to leave town. James is coming for me, which, by the way, James looks exactly like my ex-boyfriend Ryan.
Really?
They're like, we have to leave town. Oh, we have to, like, tell my dad I'm leaving town, so I'll act like we're breaking up. She's like, what do I say to him? I can't hurt him. And then, like, smash cut to her being like, oh, I said the words that my mom said when she was divorcing him. And it's like, but I thought you said you didn't want to hurt him, honey. What? That's crazy. That's so mean, Bella. That's so mean.
That is like such a cutthroat teenage girl thing to do, though. It's like, I know what's going to fucking hurt you the most. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to say it anyway.
It's because
I
we're dumb.
can actually relate to that so hard. And like, then I look back and I'm like, I am so sorry. You know, I didn't mean that, right?
No, for sure. I've said some really cunty shit to my dad, but my dad had a bad phase. Charlie Swan, I don't think he ever had a bad phase. No. I was saying cunty shit to my dad when he was being bad.
No. Like, 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure it's well-deserved, but there are those... those, like, you know, the 1% that is just, they don't deserve it.
Charlie.
And they're just in our path of wrath. As a teenage girl.
The Path of Wrath.
Path of Wrath, that's good. I love the daddy trifecta in this movie, actually. Charlie, Billy, and...
Edward?
No,
Daddy!
Carlisle. I think all of them are, like, so fun and cute.
They're great.
And daddish. Like, Billy and Charlie's, like... play fight in the scene where Billy's introduced and Jacob.
I love that.
Charlie is like pretending to punch Billy, and Billy's acting like he's like running Charlie over with his wheelchair. It's so cute. It's so cute.
Do you think that they made them do that, or do you think that that was like something that was built like behind the scenes, and they were like all the camaraderie? Because I like to believe that it was built behind the scenes, and they were all just friends. And then they were, like, filming them.
I think their camaraderie was built behind the scenes. But then also in this scene, you need to give Bella and Jacob a moment alone. So I think that the director was like, go fuck around in the back. So and they were like...
These actors were like, these full-grown man actors were like, let's just pretend to run.
Let's wrestle.
That's seriously like if Drew got a hold of the scene. It was like, all right, like,
let's try it again,
let's
but
set
more
it
wrestling.
On fire.
Yeah.
I wish I could be a part of it all, like all of the recording, all of the filming. I wish I could just be a fly on the wall, but then also got paid to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah, for me, that's what I would want.
Okay. So here's another trivia. At the cafeteria salad bar, which, by the way, did you guys look at what Bella was putting in her salad bowl?
I feel like I did in the moment, but like right now I can't remember it.
Give me let me see if I can find a picture.
Yeah, because I feel like I remember thinking it was so weird. I was like, why the fuck are you putting just that on your plate? I remember thinking this was not okay.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna say cafeteria because everything that comes up is about Rosalie breaking.
Aren't you hungry? Dude,
I swear to God, I can't find a picture of it. I'm gonna see if I can find it in the movie. But there's when she's getting her salad bar at her school cafeteria. I swear to God, she has like 3 full ribs of romaine. Just like they looked like celery stalks, like just 3 romaines, and then like she puts an apple on top of it.
She's like whatever I can scoop into the spoon right now.
Okay, and so this trivia says Bella drops an apple, which Edward picks back up and then cradles in his hands, copying the cover image of the Twilight novels. Do you guys remember that? She drops it on the ground and he rolls it up his foot into his hand, right?
Yeah, it's like a soccer move.
It says Catherine Hart. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Do you think that's not what happens in that scene, Rachel?
Well, I mean, I didn't realize it at the time. I just thought that he was doing some like cool vampire move and was like just showing off for her, but like not.
No, I think I think he is doing a cool vampire move, but what I'm asking is, does he pick it up with his hand really quick or does he like roll it up his leg? Because I have this memory of him rolling it up his leg. I
want to say that he kicks it up in like a soccer move.
Okay. Yes.
And then like catches it in his hand. Yeah, because it's like it's like a suave little move that he does. Yeah, because but I didn't recognize it like as a symbolic. Oh, this is like the cover.
No, I'm not. The trivia is not over. The cover doesn't matter. Okay. Catherine Hardwicke, the director, says that this move took them 13 takes to get it right, which is so many less than I would think that it would take.
Did he actually kick it up with his foot?
I fucking guess so because it only took 13 takes.
I thought he was learning baseball, not soccer.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I was drinking water when you said that. You would have gotten a bigger laugh. That's so wild.
But that's crazy.
Guys, this is fucking unhinged. For the role of Edward Cullen, Robert Pattinson flew from England to director Catherine Hardwicke's house to audition. There, he and Kristen Stewart, who was already cast as Bella Swan, rehearsed the love scene, meadow scene on Catherine Hardwicke's own bed. That's fucking weird.
That's really weird, dude. She was 18 years old. I'm just going to say, I
hope there was a room full of producers and agents and stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Isn't that fucking wild?
That's really weird, man.
Oh, that's super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's an uncomfortable, fact to know.
I know. When the evil vampires, what are their names? Laurent, Victoria, and James, when they make their first appearance, you know how they're all barefoot the whole time for some reason?
Yeah.
Because they're feral. They're actually all wearing little slippers painted like bare feet that director Catherine Hardwicke painted herself.
That's so funny.
At least she put some effort in.
I know. Guys, there's
it's
so
really
much in this movie. There's so much we haven't talked about. Over 5,000 actors auditioned to be Edward.
5,000? Do they list some of the people?
No, they don't. They were probably a lot of nobodies because he was a kid. Oh, Dave Franco, Jamie Campbell Bower, who does ultimately show up as Caius in the later. He's in the Volturi.
I will say Dave Franco wouldn't be a bad second choice.
Dave Franco, I'd have to see.
He's such a goofball. I love him.
That's the thing. I'd have to see him.
But he'd be so sexy, all pale and
He's very sexy. Okay,
and
then also
little voice.
Guys, you gotta know Michael Welch also auditioned to be Edward Cullen. Do you know who that is?
Michael Welch.
He plays Mike Newton in the movie. The fucking that blonde boy. Can you imagine if he was Edward instead?
You could play Jasper, maybe.
Oh my God, apparently Josh Peck also auditioned to be Edward. That must have been right when he dropped a lot of weight. And people were like, yeah, he could be hot.
Can you imagine if they cast him in that? He's like, I'll prove them wrong.
Yeah.
No, once a goofball's always a goofball, you goof. It's not going to work out, okay?
Wait, Josh Peck, is Josh Peck the one with the darker hair?
Drake and Josh, yeah.
Drake and Josh, yeah.
Okay. The final 4 contenders for the role of Edward were Robert Pattinson, Ben Barnes.
Oh, Narnia.
Jackson
I love that
Rathbone,
guy.
who plays Jasper in this movie.
Oh.
And Shiloh Fernandez, who I have had to Google, and he's in nothing I've seen, really.
Ben Barnes.
So he didn't get it. Ben Barnes is insanely sexy. And he does have that, like, dark energy. Or maybe it's just because I watched that one show that he's the dark wizard in or whatever.
What's his name?
Ben Barnes. He's hot.
I only know him from Prince Caspian.
I'm
as
so
Prince
bad at
Caspian.
names.
Here, I'll show you him.
Did you ever watch the
share that
Narnias?
screen. Yes, but oh yeah, he's very cute now. Yeah,
Yeah, he's hot.
He's definitely my type.
Yeah, he's hot.
That's my type. That's my type.
We haven't even talked about Jackson Rathbone. We haven't talked about Alice Green. We haven't talked about Anna Kendrick. Like,
Oh
there's
my
so
God,
much
I know.
happening in this
Anna
movie.
Kendrick. Let's talk
Anna
about
Kendrick
it.
brought her tits to this role and gave it her all. She's the only one with any charisma this whole fucking movie.
I actually really liked her character. Like, she was
I
very
did
like
too.
relatable. Like, she was just like a very cute, like very nice, like was just like a genuinely a girl's girl. You could tell, but like was also just like very insecure in herself, and I could like totally relate to her character.
Yeah.
like she was just like jealous that she was getting the attention from like Bella was getting the attention from somebody that she had a crush on, but like.
Yeah.
But, like, still was, like, nice to her, was still, like, interested in, like learning more about whatever they had going on, even if it was a little bit selfish or not. But she never once talked bad. I mean, she did talk bad about whatever. But, like, not any more than, like, I feel like any...
No, she
Let me-
was
and
trying
that's-
to be a good friend, like
yeah,
genuinely.
like, she...
To,
and I really
to Bella,
liked her.
who's a bad friend.
I was gonna say, and Tina, and in the book especially, like, and a little bit in the movie too, like
Bella hates her guts.
Bella is so mean, and it's really clear in the book the entire time that she's pretending to be her friend. Really, that she's pretending to be all of their friends.
Which is fucked.
It's
I
so
feel like
mean.
Anna Kendrick does a really good job of portraying the type of teenage girl who has been told that she's really annoying so many times that she not only believes it, but is doing her best to turn it into a strength. You know what I mean?
That's why
She's
I can
like-
relate to her. That's literally why I can relate to her. Because I don't know, maybe that's just like who I was growing up. And like I was just so annoying, and I was told like you're just loud and annoying, obnoxious, all of the things. And then I was struggling with just I want to be nice to everybody, but like everyone's so mean. But and, like I think that I just really relate to that character, and I think that's why I like her so much. And I would never ever get rid of that character.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love her. And I also love Angela, portrayed by Christian Serratos. That I like her. She's so cute and sweet.
I agree.
Stephanie Meyer fought for one line in particular, one of the most well-known from the book about the Lion and the Lamb, to be kept verbatim in the film. Would you believe, Leela, that she fought to have that line kept in the film?
I would, because it's so bad, and it's like maybe like my least favorite part of the book. Like, it's really upsetting.
If I was reading Twilight and I was writing like an essay about it for school, and I made a metaphor of like, and so the lion fell in love with the lamb, it would be like, yeah, that's fine writing. But for you to be the main character in this book of an abusive relationship and be like, well, look at us. And so the lion fell in love with the lamb. So bad. And like, if there's any authors out there, I need you to know there is no line from your book that's good enough that you should fight for it to be kept verbatim in the film. Sorry.
That's just not how adaptations work. Like, because just like you said, Tina, like what is read in your head is not going to, it's just not going to be the same as it's spoken in a movie. It's just not going to be the same. There's not going to be that context. There's not going to be all this like stuff that she was thinking before that kind of like justifies it and like makes it come full circle. Like there's not going to be any of that shit. It's just going to be this random corny thing, weird thing that somebody says that just kind of sticks out.
Oh, I forgot to mention this earlier. Henry Cavill also was in consideration to be Edward.
Shut the
which
fuck up.
I'm a hater. He dates teenagers. I'm a hater.
Oh, shit.
What does he look like?
Henry Cavill? Superman.
Oh,
Superman and The Witcher. So
okay.
he's very ripped. I think honestly, too ripped to be like a teenage vampire who lives on just blood. Like,
Yeah.
Okay. And then by the time production began, he was already 25 and he looked too old. So they offered him the part of Carlisle, but he was like, "No, bitch, I'm doing the Tudors. I'm busy."
He was pretty hot in Tudors. He should have just been
yeah.
Emmett instead. No, I really like Helen Lutz a lot.
Yeah, Kellen Lutz is so fucking hot. There's just something so boyish and mannish and silly about him, and he loves Rosalie so much, and I just think he's so hot. Okay.
I think they casted it very well.
I do too.
You know, there was a lot of backlash and hate for your girl, your main squeeze, Tina.
Who?
Rosalie? Yeah.
Why?
Because in the book, they say she's supermodel hot, like right at the time, America's Next Top Model hot. And in the movie, she is thick.
Curvy?
Mm-hmm. And I really don't even...
Is so stupid.
I
don't give a shit.
I just don't know how people can consider themselves fat when they have abs and a no stomach, and it's fine.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I think that was just a very weird time.
it was a horrible time for body image.
Yeah, the way that Ashley Green's body kind of goes straight down.
Yes.
I feel like
That
that
was
was
the
very
body
in
type.
vogue then. And
The thing is,
the
like,
way-
I don't even look at the bodies like they were one way or the other. I just look at the women. I'm like, oh my god, everyone's so beautiful. Like,
I totally agree.
like that. It's just so weird. Like, or decades through decades that there are body types are just so different, and like, or society wise, like how they view on what's beautiful and not. And I look at like people. We watch things from. Even we were watching America's Next Top Model from.
Mm-hmm.
The early 90s, and like they were, and like I thought
2000s.
everybody, or early 2000s, whatever, everybody looked so amazing, and like, but they were like, "Yo, this person's too fat," or this person, and I was like, and even watching this movie, like, oh, these people are like, some people are stick straight, some people have curves, some people have abs. I didn't even notice any of that. I was just like, oh my god, all of you guys are beautiful. I literally was just like, oh my god, there's just so many beautiful people in front of me. I wasn't like even comparing, like, I don't know if that's just like a different way of viewing the women or just the world in general. But like, I've never once like looked at a woman and like, you're too this, you're too that. I'm just like, you're just beautiful. Like, it is what it is. You are what you are. And like, that's like, no, but like, that's just it goes from decade to decade, and like, not to like stray off of the topic too far, but like, is it,
Straight girl.
no, but like, is that something that, like,
I mean,
each
beauty
person
standards change throughout time for sure. And they're also like deeply personal, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Very deeply personal. I also think you're like objectively a very hot person. And so
it's not even about that.
I think like just being
Leela,
hot.
but it's all like personal, you know what
But
I
I
mean?
think
Like,
we all
hot
are.
people don't always look at themselves and be like, I'm hot, because like,
Yeah.
guess what? We're
I
all
think
three really hot.
I think we all are. Exactly.
yeah.
Well, I'm totally with you. Women are just beautiful. No notes, Rachel. That being said,
Yeah.
I think maybe Elizabeth Reeser as Esme Cullen could have been a little more vampire hot. There's like mom hot, and then there's
Okay,
vampire
true.
hot.
Yeah.
I mean, true. Like, I see your point. Like, yes. I think that, like, but like, her character was already just so hot. I think it's just like, you just maybe need to like hone in on like what you were talking about at her.
My problem with Esme is that she's like a nothing character who does nothing. She was turned into a vampire to be somebody's wife, and she like doesn't do anything the whole movie, and then she's like kind of still not even as hot as the rest of them either. And it's like, what does Esme get to do?
Yeah.
That's
It's
just, yeah.
I think she's there for the not gays. Like, if that's what they call it, because they want to make sure that this movie has a case of the not gays. Like, because Carlisle's so hot, he can't just be a single guy with all these kids. Like, what is he, some kind of prevert? Like, we gotta...
Oh, the don't trust him.
I know, but they trust him more with a wife. That's
It's
just
true.
how it works.
It is really true.
And I have never gotten over the fact that she committed suicide. He found her after she had committed suicide and said, you know what? I'm going to use this woman as my wife.
Yeah,
That's really
that's
fucked up.
That's the plot of Poor Things.
She wanted to die. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You literally poor things her. So, anyway.
Is there anything else from this movie that y'all want to talk about? Like any of like we haven't talked at all about like the horrible scene business that the actors be doing in every scene. Like business is what the actors are doing that is like just to make them look like real people.
Yeah.
What
you
do
know,
you
like
mean?
So like okay, so if in the plot she needs to grab her backpack, that's a plot thing. But like if she's talking, for example, she's talking to her dad in the kitchen. She's really mad. She like angrily pours this glass of water. She fills it all the way up to the
she
top.
takes one sip and then throws it
She
away.
takes one sip and throw it back. That has nothing to do with the plot. That's just business. That's what it's called. And the business in this is fucking insane. There's that one when they're in the diner.
Yes, and the ketchup.
She gets the ketchup, and it's okay. We're all Americans here. Classic red squeeze bottle of ketchup. What do you do with it? You squeeze
You squeeze it. You do a little one,
it.
and then you do a two.
You would do
And
like
Bella's
like a quick-
flopping it like she doesn't know how to give
She's
a
just-
good hand
she's
job.
just doing
she's
this.
like, why isn't the ketchup coming out?
like, girl, you're 17. You should know.
Everything about food in this whole movie is fucking weird. Like the way that the Cullens are like playing with their food, and like the way that Bella is constantly eating like the weirdest combinations of food. Like she always be having a salad.
She's always just like stabbing at her food and not eating it. Like I've noticed that
she's
too.
like a sim. She's like a sim.
Yeah.
It's like at a really far distance, this looks normal.
Just don't get too close.
Don't get too close. Like, is there anything else about like the setting or the actors? Or
everything.
I know there's so much to talk about. Like, what about you, Leela? Do you have any like specific subjects we haven't brought up yet?
No, just I love the just the nostalgic aspect of how fucking low everybody's pants are. How
oh yeah.
Actually, I hate that part. That's my least favorite part of.
I mean, I love it. I mean,
grew up.
I do love it. It's like it shows the time that it was.
Yeah.
It shows the time, but it
really
also
does.
reminds. It's like that fashion called me
reminds me of
fat
the
back
time.
then, and it's calling me fat now.
Limited too.
Yeah, no, I loved me some Limited too, but I don't think anyone was wearing anything quite that exciting in this movie.
No, yeah.
Like even like the hot vampires are wearing like wet seal skinny jeans.
That's
Rosalie's outfits are straight out of Wet Seal.
Yeah, I do. God, I love it when Rosalie is she the one who pitches? Who pitches? Is it Alice?
That's Alice.
Don't you remember her legendary toe point? That was a little
I
ballerina
am.
like Alice.
like literally could like flick a peanut.
I remember some good thigh things happening in those baseball pants with Rosalie that I really liked. Anyway, that's objectifying women.
That's another time. That's another
Day,
podcast.
another time. We don't objectify women on this podcast.
That's after hours.
Jennifer Lawrence, Michelle Trachtenberg, and Sarah Paxton were all considered for the role
Sarah Paxton,
of
Aquamarine.
Bella Swan.
Wait, Michelle Trachtenberg?
Yeah, isn't that so random? I haven't heard that name in a bajillion
Harriet the
years.
fucking Spy,
I'm
Ice
sorry.
Princess.
Euro trip? You made out with your sister. Like, I will never not see that. That she would never, ever be Bella.
And I don't remember anything about her acting skills, if she would have been good. I personally think that Sarah Paxton has too much charisma for this.
Oh damn! Let's watch Aquamarine. It's
I actually watched
July.
it maybe like a year ago because I read the book, which is for babies.
We should do Aquamarine, and then we should also watch Harriet the Spy.
Okay. I also think Jennifer Lawrence is an insane person to consider for this role. That is
that
fucking
sounds
batshit.
crazy.
There's too much. There's too much there.
There's too much. Yeah, I think she was a bad choice for Hunger Games too, but we could talk about that some other time.
I don't think she was a bad choice. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah,
We'll talk about this later.
Guys, this is a trivia I didn't know before. I'm really glad that IMDb wrote this down because I could never have figured this out without IMDb telling me. Would you believe that Taylor Lautner had to wear a wig for his role as Jacob Black?
Oh my god.
Are you telling me that wasn't his God-given pubes?
No, I think that's real. I think his hair is real.
Well, I'm like, why do you have to fucking write it down? Of course it's a wig. This isn't trivia.
No, I think it's real.
I also like this trivia. Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, and Taylor Lautner became good friends.
Oh, yeah, they did. We all saw that photo.
That should have been number one. That should have been number one trivia. We take that shit home with us.
That photo shoot, though, where they're, like, tickling Taylor Lautner's belly and, like,
Oh my
all laying in a
God.
field with flowers.
I wish they were all tickling my belly.
Me too.
So,
Me too.
Rachel, I gotta ask, like, these days, do you think that when you watch Twilight, are you experiencing, like, ironic cringe pleasure, or are you experiencing, like, real honest-to-God pleasure?
No, I'm experiencing, like, real honest to God pleasure. Like, well, like, there's, like, maybe, like, 30% cringe, 70% just real honest to God pleasure. Because I know, I'm very self-aware. And I can tell that, like, when I like something, when it's, like, you probably shouldn't be liking this. This is, like, not, this isn't a good look for you. But I'm also, like, I don't give a fuck. So, here I am. So I think it's like a 70-30 vibe.
Okay.
30% I know. 70% I don't give a fuck.
That's how I buy my burger meat.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, it's really tough because I loved this. I loved this series. I loved the movie. I loved the books. And they made me excited about reading and writing and romance and all that stuff. And I never want to just, like, crush. I feel like not liking it now crushes little Leela's spirit. But I've also grown, and it's really hard for me to ignore and look past the purity culture aspect of it. That's just so strong. And I saw this in youth group, and I just have a lot of really negative feelings associated with the church. So that's on me. So that part of it is tough. It's tough for me to not cringe at. But, and that's, like, the kind of cringe I don't like. I mean, I'm on a cringe podcast and I can wallow in cringe, but, like, I don't like that type of cringe. The rest of it, I still really like because it does it reminds me of when I was younger and times were simpler. So, I don't know. I guess it's a little bit of both. What about you?
Yeah, I think that I've, like, circled around to, like, genuine pleasure the whole time. Like, watching Twilight feels like you're watching a spoof of Twilight. And, like, I really like that. Like, there's so much joy to me in, like, every single line and every single action and, like, every little nuance. Like, I'm genuinely loving it the whole time. And sometimes I love it because it's bad, and that's where, like, the spoof energy comes in, because I'm just like, that's what it's supposed to be, baby. It's supposed to be bad. So I think that we all have similar answers, but, like, different reasoning, which is cute.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Rachel, do you think that Twilight, the movie, is horny, sad, or just plain bad?
Horny. What kind of question is that? Of course it's horny. I mean, and like I said, I grew up with this shit. I remember, like, I just remember just being like, oh my god. And then it building up to the Breaking Dawn Part 2, like, everything leading up to it, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so sexual.
When are they gonna fuck?
Yeah.
When are they gonna fuck?
Yeah, but then they did fuck finally, and it was just like, and then there was, like, even more after that, like, leading up, even, like, they could even take it home after that. Like, it was very sexual for me personally. So yeah, I'm gonna say horny.
Okay. Lila, what about you?
I think like content like Twilight is like a reason like why we almost not why, but like it's like a very perfect example of a subject matter that encompasses all three so perfectly. Like it's so horny. It's sad. There's sad. It's really
so horny,
sad.
it's sad.
It's so horny that it's sad. But it's also sad, like, it's sad that that's what we romanticized, and it's sad to think that that's the best that we got. And then it's just plain bad because it's just plain fucking bad. But, like, even so, I'm gonna go mostly horny. If I had to choose out of the three,
Yeah.
it's a mostly horny. And Tina, if you vote horny, this is gonna be another full horn episode.
Well, obviously, it's mostly horny. I think that there's a lot of bad in here, and what I think is bad is that this is marketed to teenagers. We talked about this a lot in the book episode. I think that this is...
Yeah.
I don't say this lightly. I think this is dangerous subject matter for young women to be reading. And I think it was bad that I read it at this time, and I let myself have abusive boyfriends after this.
True.
And I'm not saying, like, this is the reason, but it probably is part of why I romanticize that relationship.
Sure.
Didn't help.
So I think there's a big bad here, but for me, in my 30s, doing some nostalgia, it's just horny, baby.
Horny, yeah, exactly.
Horny all days.
Could not agree more.
Hell yeah.
Like, I would never, like, yeah, like, looking back, if I watched that, like, for the first time in my 30s, I'd be like, well, that guy's a piece of shit, but, like, this is sexy. Yeah, this is sexy. Like, if I saw this, like, with, like, a girl I babysat or something, I'd be like, well, don't ever go for a guy like that, but, like, I understand why he's hot.
And
I
see, like,
understand why he's hot.
That's what's important is, like, being able to provide the context. Like, and I think that's why, like, we and Tina have talked about it in the book episode, like, would you let your kid read this book? And it's like, I think that I would because it's so fun, but I would read it with them, and I would...
Yeah.
I would try my best to provide context.
I would like, yeah. I think I totally agree that I would like to read it with them and or be like, whenever you get to this chapter, we're going to talk about it because I read it and I already know. You know, there has to be, like, I at least want to be there on some level or, like, you know, be willing to talk to them about certain things in the book because there are, like, some adult things and, like, yeah, like you said, it's like...
Like, Rachel, when I read it, I think I had, like, 200 tabbies indicating every time Edward was abusive. So, like, I would be like, okay, let's sit down and talk about everything you read.
Yeah. Like, I didn't have anybody, like, being like, oh, let's dictate what you're reading, or like let's talk about what you're watching, or like the movies that you're seeing, or what's being pushed in MTV and like all that shit. So I really didn't have anybody like kind of guiding the way. So when I did read or watch these type of things, it did glorify those types of men, and then like kind of like growing up and like also idealizing them in real life. You kind of like associate these kind of things, and like. Once you hit, like, a actual mature age and, like, you hit that level of maturity, you're just like, whoa. There are a lot of things. Yeah, like, there are a lot of things that we shouldn't have been we shouldn't have been exposed to, one. And then, two, we shouldn't have been, like, felt okay to deal with.
Totally.
Like, you shouldn't have just accepted this.
Just little 16-year-old Tina in a car going 120 miles per hour with a 16-year-old driver who's trying to make me feel small, being like, this is love.
Yeah, exactly. No, like that's what you should have done. Like, you know, like no. Like no, you don't do that. You're gonna be with somebody that makes you feel safe, you know, all these things. Yeah, just kind of like that was the time though. That was
oh God, yeah.
Like late 90s, early 2000s, even mid 2000s. That was just kind of the vibe. That was just kind of what we had to deal with, and like
hot abusive daddies.
Yeah. And it was very far and few in between that we got like the guy that was a good guy.
Yeah.
Like it was always like, I don't know, sexualized that like, oh, it was the bad guy that turned a good guy.
That's
blah,
why
blah,
Peeta
blah.
Mellark was so revolutionary.
Yeah,
Like, what if she
exactly.
picked the nice guy?
And then like she
Crazy.
did pick the good guy.
Crazy.
And then that might have been like what was the turning point, honestly.
Yeah.
And like, oh no, we do pick the good guy that like feeds you fucking bread when you're hungry.
The guy who feeds you bread. I tell you what, girl.
I don't know, maybe Peeta was the turn of it all.
Rachel, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We love you so much.
I love you guys. Sorry if I went in like totally different directions a lot of the times.
You did great.
Yeah, you did great keeping up with our totally different directions.
Yeah. Well, that's it for Burn Before Reading.
Until next time, remember,
Your cringe is part of you.
but hang on tight, Spider Monkey, because
Oh,
we're going to
God.
make it through this together.
Guys, can we get a final?
Okay, here's the note.
It's hard to do while laughing.
It's really hard.
That wasn't even that cringe for me.
Wait, now I'll jump the octave this time.
Do it. Let's do it.
Oh, I forgot I was supposed to harmonize.
1, 2, 3.
I said I was doing it.
Okay, fine. I'll do that.
I'll go even lower. I'll go.
Yeah, let's monk this shit.
I can't.
Thanks for listening to Burn Before Reading.
Created by me, Christina Kahn.
Hosted and produced by Christina Kahn and me, Leela Hilton.
Logo designed by Michael Hardison. Follow him on Instagram at RoyGBivRVA or check out his work at wildlingpress.com.
Theme music by Sakura Wishes.
Find me online at Christina Kahn.
And find me at Leels for Reels.
Follow the podcast on Instagram and Tumblr at BurnBeforePod.
Or feel free to give us an email at burnbeforepod@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, friends.
See you next time.
Dave X Media.